have a lot tonight. I'll give you what I have here, just in case you wanted to jot something down.
Just in time, Matthew.
We went over the athletic budget last time. We said that what was going to happen was that the equipment bids were going to come in. Well, they did. So we sat down, we tabulated them, and the budget, the current on the left column, that's what the budgets were for the 14-15 school year. The middle is what was requested for 15-16, and the far right is the administrative recommendation for 15-16. Now you'll see that there are some that are a bit out of whack. For example, boys basketball, girls basketball, football, softball, and volleyball. What we sat down today with Dooney and Mr. Lake, we kind of looked at it, and Dooney seems to feel that a lot of that is wish list stuff. And he feels that all of those coaches can get their requisitions back down to the 14-15 budget level. So that's what we've asked them to do. Again, most of the stuff where you see the larger expenses has to do with uniform requests. And again, there's a lot of other stuff that Dooney feels they can cut out to get down to the 21,200. So that's kind of where we are at this point. That's what we've asked them to do. The spreadsheets have all been sent back at this point, and we're kind of waiting for their responses. So,
Such a big difference with basketball.
well, what they're doing is they asked for 3 sets of uniforms, the boys basketball. So I mean, you got to kind of say, why are you asking for 3 sets of uniforms? So, you know, we sent that back saying, you know, really, you just got uniforms a year or 2 ago under Coach Ogiel, so why would you be asking for 3 sets of uniforms? Football, for example, we asked for 75 uniforms. I mean, I don't know at the varsity level or JV level, excuse me, we have that kind of number. So, I mean, he asked for some sleds, some cameras, this, that, and the other thing. So, again, we're pretty comfortable that all those guys can get down to what last year's budget allocations were. If they don't, I mean, then we would come back to you on Monday and say, you know, they tried, but they really are pushing, they really want this, and then we can adjust the budget for next Thursday.
What happened with track?
Track got
Their last
uniforms last year. So after they got the uniforms last year, the requisitions weren't near as high, obviously, this year, so we were able to adjust that. That's the only one that went down. Most of the other ones are pretty consistent year to year with what the budget numbers are. Outside of getting uniforms, really, year to year, it's the same type of equipment, and we don't see that huge inflation influx. And what they can do also is just the numbers. Instead of 25 dozen baseballs, 20 dozen baseballs. So, again, we've sent those back, and I think they'll come back within budget that we've asked. And again, if not, we'll share that on Monday, and you can have a discussion at that point. And then everything else with the athletic fund, basically we covered last Wednesday, the bits and the pieces that go with the athletics.
With the, and this is a question for Dooney or maybe Kirk, and neither one of them are here, but with the price of baseballs these days, did anybody ever consider netting to not lose a dozen baseballs every night?
No, but I guess we can talk to Steve Schuster actually about that. He's putting some nets around the stadium.
Well, yeah, towards the street, because once they hit and bounce and go in the woods, they're gone. And
Right.
if you're looking at $5 a baseball, you know, I looked at some netting, and I mean, I don't know that it was the right size, but boy, you'd pay for that netting in one season.
I don't know. I'll talk to Steve. That's it really under athletics. That's 2 of 4 slides. Now we go back to the general fund, and I mean, I didn't do anything but take out the $17,000 that we had talked about for sanding and refinishing the small gym floor. The top line is total estimated expenditures as of May 6th. It's all the same. Every number is $27,909,088. In each of those columns, and what I'm showing you here is if the board were inclined to put a tax increase on, I've outlined 0.25 mil, 0.5 mil, and 0.7804 mil, which is the amount we can go with the index and the referendum exceptions. So But the top line is the expenses. I backed out the budgetary reserve because hopefully we really don't have to fund that. So our actual total expenses are the third line. You can see they're all the same across the columns. Then I took the fourth line, that's preliminary revenue estimates. The $26,182,135 is the 2015-16 projected with no tax increase and no additional state subsidy. Then the 0.25 mil reflects a 0.25 mil increase. You see that goes to 26.3, and 0.5 mil takes you to 26.4, and 0.7804 mil takes you to 26.5. I've indicated and shown that we're not anticipating at this point additional basic ed subsidy. I put zeros there, and you can see then what the projected deficit is with no increase to 0.5, to 0.8, to 0.25. Those are the true deficits. Then I took and I backed out the HVAC project, which is a one-shot deal. So if we didn't have that one-shot deal in this year's budget, our total deficit as of May 6th would be, again, the numbers you see, 900, 806, 696, and 573. So I want to show the real deficit. That's the first highlighted line. Then again, showing you the one-shot expense, backing that out, you can kind of see where it would be if that project weren't on the board. Now, any state revenue we get, any adjustment to cyber school tuition will affect those bottom line numbers in a positive way. So I guess at this point, we're just trying to get some direction as to what you would like presented for Monday and or next Thursday when we put a preliminary budget in front of the board.
Scary thing is, I mean, we're saying one-time HVAC expense. And next year, there's likely gonna be a one-time expense to something else, and the next year, something else. I mean, it's just the reality of having a building that's as old as our building. Any thoughts from the board?
I can show you the next couple of slides. Again, not wanting to, but I'll show you the millage impact just in case you have an inclination.
Oh, great.
There's currently the current point, 16.56 mils. That's the current column. Then this is one would be with a 0.25 mil increase. We go to 16.81 mils. We just got down from the county assessor's office that our median income is 67.6. So half the homes are valued less, half the homes are valued more. At the median, you'd see that the tax increase would be $16.90 a year. And as the value per home goes up, so goes the cost of your property tax increase. At 0.5, again, same set of numbers. Just with the 0.5 increase, you can see at the median, you're at $33.80 as far as the tax increase would go, on up to $270 and then beyond. And then last but not least, this would be at the max. You can see the median increase would be $52.73. And again, on up to $307. Now there is talk about reducing property taxes with the governor's proposal, a dramatic amount, by increasing the personal income tax and the sales tax. So I mean, I don't know what has a chance of getting through and what doesn't have a chance of getting through, but there are some things that are on the table that we just don't know about. Am I wrong, Frank?
What's the bottom number? You have a consistent increase of $5,000 on the first column.
Okay,
So that would mean you have a consistent increase on the right-hand column as well.
okay.
Something happened in that last one.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So the last one maybe, yeah, I see. Okay.
Because that's the shock value of 307 is pretty big, but that should probably be 105.
Yeah, I have to go back. I must have copied and pasted something incorrectly. Everything else though seems okay, Frank?
Damn,
I got one, there's that one cell.
Wait a minute, 307 could have been the headline of the paper.
Yeah.
Let me go back. Yeah, it looks like the last line, I've got a mistake all the way through. You're right. What I did too, I didn't, I didn't make copies of these. What I'd like to do is kind of go look at my spreadsheet now because I'm paranoid. All the numbers are correct. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Rich, would you happen to have a spreadsheet on average and median household income within the school district?
I don't.
What about like other school districts, are they around like the same like, tax rate as we are, like?
It was just in the paper tonight, Riverside, it had it in the front, right on the front page.
Well, yeah, that's it.
Shoot.
I've got all that information, I can get that.
Riverside would be the county.
That's gonna be a lot different.
They're a lot higher.
Actually, I guess you'll be able to see everything I'm doing here, so I will be able to pull up some spreadsheets. Yeah. Let me just see, I gotta try to remember where they are.
And that, find those consistent with Orange County. You remember our calculation for our contribution to that tech, based on assessed property value,
Yeah.
put us behind Shannon.
Let's just see. That's what the problem is. They caught this whole. There you go, Frank, is that better?
Yes, sir.
All right, so it was just the last line you copied. Okay. Trying to find, I thought that I had a spreadsheet at one point that showed all the comparative millage rates. I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to come up with that quickly. We are, I think, second or third in tax rate. Newcastle's first. At one point, Neshannock was second, then Ellwood was second or third. But I think it's Newcastle, Ellwood, and then Neshannock after that. So it seems like two larger districts have the higher tax rates. The two poorer districts as well have the higher tax rates. Well, you know what we can do? Here we go. I should be able to find it. There we go. There you go. So we're at 16.56. There's Neshannock at 14.37. Shenango, 12.36.
Those are all municipalities, as opposed to school districts.
This is all school, right here. There's Newcastle, the 17 point.
So Enid Valley, that'd be Mohawk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We moved it.
Bessemer.
What's the second column?
The second column is the county tax rate. So everybody's the same. Then first column's county, this will be the city municipality.
Always taxes are higher than anybody else's.
Okay, now what are these other school districts' budgets? Like, what are their total expenditures look like compared to ours, you know that?
Well, we're the second largest districts, I don't know specifically, but I think Mohawk would be similar to us. I know that they're at a $2.5 million deficit, because Kirk's been talking about that. That's really the only one I'm aware of. I mean, I would think if I were them, I would be hesitant to share anything at this point, as far as where they are, just because things are subject to change. I mean, once you get to the preliminary budget, then that's public information that you feel a little more comfortable sharing.
Total revenue coming in for taxes, do they have an increase from last year? Is it increased?
Yeah, we picked up, projecting $230-some thousand without a tax increase. Because what I did was I adjusted the collection percentage on the property tax. And there were a few other little minor tweaks. I mean, I think transportation subsidy went out, retirement subsidy went out. All told, it's about $236,000.
I'm just surprised because I know a lot of the houses, they're not selling at what they used to. Market value's down, so I'm just thinking.
It doesn't matter, it's the assessed value.
Right, but a lot of people, when they're buying these homes, they're getting them reassessed. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just surprised because every year our average sell price of our houses and what they're worth goes down.
I think our assessed value actually went up from last year, close to $900,000, so I'm not sure what that is a result of, but based on what the assessed value the county assessor gave me last year versus this year is up about $900,000, which is about $15,000.
I'm surprised because that's not what they tell us if they're realtor agents. So I guess the question is there any other place in the budget that there's a possibility for cuts?
Well, I gave you a list last week. I mean, if there's something else you want to get rid of, I mean, we can certainly do it.
Discussion, any thoughts from the board in regard to the millage increases presented in Mr. Zerone's report?
Where's the papers? That blue one from last week. Rich,
Uh-huh.
in salaries,
And salaries?
yeah, line 20, object code 120, 171, print room salary, what is that?
Let me just get to, what, can you tell me what you're looking at?
It's a print room salary,
Well, program, that's Amy Taviani, who does the copying services at the high school. She's also part-time, 50-50 between child accounting, child attendance, and copy work.
so that's her actual salary?
Yes. Well, that's a
Half her
portion.
salary, yeah.
The other portion is in the business office. And let me just, I'm not gonna guess, I'm gonna pull it up exactly.
Kathy, where are you? Here's the blue book.
Yeah.
Does anybody need a blue book? I've got a couple of extras.
Yeah.
What page? They don't have page numbers. It says general fund budget session, there's a second page.
What object code?
Line 20, object code 171. what does that mean? She runs all the copies?
She runs all the copies that come over from the elementary days. And that's a result of, at one point in time, we had just a huge copier over here at Lincoln High School. And we had what was called top stops, so we could make as many copies as we wanted on that particular machine. And it wouldn't cost us anything more. So when we had the elementaries, all that stuff would come over, Amy would take it, she'd make the copies, bundle it up, and send it back. And of course, we got to the point now that we have larger copies throughout the district. They're still coming over, we've just not changed the job description or what she's doing.
But it's not possible to get rid of that part of her job though, right?
We'd have to cut her back to half-time. I guess anything's possible, but, I mean, I wouldn't imagine that you would have people making copies. Yeah, I don't know, I guess that's something you'd have to look at.
So this is on top of her base salary as a secretary?
Here's the other part of the salary. That's the offset printing. And then here's the other portion. I'm trying to remember account numbers. It's 2,500. That's still not what I'm looking for. Let's look this way. It's probably gonna shoot the same number. There, we got that one, we know the 16. All right, now I gotta find the other half. That's the business, that's the offset printing, so she's in attendance as well. All right, let me go a different route. I'm kind of taking a long way around here. I'll have to get to this report and go back to the other 2171.
Oh, you
Yeah, I have to go pay the numbers. There's the other.
for full-time?
Yeah, so it's full-time, so 151 is half of her salary, that's incorporated in that big 566, the other half is in the 171. And that's what she does, she makes copies. And I can't say she splits her time 50-50 or whether she spends more time doing child attendance. I would assume that's the case.
I don't know if the teachers have planning periods, why they can't make their own copies.
I mean, for a full-time secretary, they'll have 35,000 years. And which is six. She didn't have enough secretarial work to be working full-time, that's, I mean, that's, he said he doesn't know if she's doing 50-50 time or if it's more towards, that's just the way the salaries are broken up, right?
Yeah. Just, yeah.
With the new program, how much attendance does the computer do? How much does she have to do?
It's the same. I mean, there still has to be input.
Yeah, but the homeroom teachers do the input.
They do it now. They send it down. They send their attendance to her, and then she puts it all together, and then excuses that come in, if they're excused or unexcused during the day, she has to go back through, put them all in.
But I thought the program we got was supposed to reduce the number of man-hours that needed to do the input. That's why we got it.
But it's not gonna redo, you still have to do all the work behind it. There's still somebody that has to, kid comes in with an excuse, comes in late, somebody's gotta be there to mark an excuse, doctor's appointment, kid leaves early, with a, you know, then comes back in. I mean, there's somebody there all the time to check kids in and out as far as attendance, and then the daily attendance, the afternoon attendance run. Truancies, does all that stuff with you guys. Track of all the unexcused absences.
Tardy warning letters, so at Fort Tardy, she prints letters, so warning letters that will go home. She also is the person who sends like the first few rounds of truancy letters before we would do the certified letter. She takes care of the certified letter as well, and then John and Kirk need to decide who to file truancy on based on what she has.
But couldn't some of that be taken care of with that new guidance person?
I don't necessarily know if you want that new guidance person to be secretarial duties either. I mean, that person's have an expertise in
Well,
dealing.
how many secretaries are there in the main office?
There's three.
And that includes Amy?
Principals, yes.
Are there any clerks in the main office?
No.
And how many clerks are there in each of the elementaries?
One.
So we have 6 secretaries in the entire district?
I was all concerned that, I don't know whether we're in executive session type mode here, or whether we're in public session mode, or just where we are.
I just wanna know where because the cost that shows for the budget, 566,000. I just wanna know the number of clerical employees that make up that amount. And then the additional 17 in with the 566.
The camera on. We have personal information on
Yeah. Amy's.
there. Bond out, somewhere there.
Turn the screen on?
Well, I'm just afraid to have my spreadsheets,
Oh.
you know,
Yeah.
Exactly.
get to the point where,
Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't have to bring any spreadsheets up to just get the number of
no,
secretaries.
that's what I'm looking at, but I didn't want it to be up on the,
I agree.
on the screen. All right, so the clerical wages, that's gonna be secretarial clerical, it's probably gonna include, Joe Corey, so I've got 14 clerical people. On me just kind of make sure I get everybody that we need to get, so I answer the question correctly.
I'm a little bit more relieved to know that it's 14 and not 6.
No, it's gonna be more than 14. Oh, and I need a faster computer.
It's coming, Rich, it's
Yes,
coming.
thank you. I've noticed it's slowed down. All right, so that would include not only the 14 clerical people that are secretarial, payroll, that kind of thing. That is your library aides, that's your tax collectors. It includes your nurses, clerical person, so it's all the clerical people throughout the district. It's 14 true secretarial clerical, and then you get into the clerics like the library people, the guidance person, the health room person, and again, the five tax collectors are included in that 151 object code.
Okay, I feel a little bit better. Because it's almost 600,000.
But why, we have custodial and maintenance salaries decreasing, and we have our secretarial wages increasing?
Because what happened now was, there was an employee that I didn't know what his health situation was gonna be. He remained in the budget, and then he subsequently retired. So there was a savings when his retirement happened.
Just seems that we have an awful lot of staff. Okay, if anybody minds, I can change. What is under object code 330, other professional services? Is that mainly Kelly? Right?
No, that's not what Kelly's.
Oh, no, that's the.
That's
testing.
legal, audit, drug testing expense, and it's based on history and recent contracts.
And nothing else in that?
No.
I think Kelly's agreed at $320.
I knew it was in there, I apologize.
I actually increased that, I believe, a little bit because we have negotiations that I'm not sure how long they're going to be ongoing. We are using our solicitor,
Okay.
so that would reflect the increase there.
What is 123 supplemental salaries?
Supplemental salaries, those are class covers for the most part. What exactly that is. The largest portion of that's gonna be met when this computer finally gets where it's going, is we have teachers that cover classes at the high school level. I believe 11, or about 8,000 out of 11,700 just for that. 8,500 is for the secondary teachers who cover classes for a period or two. And I've added, but we've had secondary teachers covering classes, mostly for IEPs, period of time.
So how does that work? Because they're already getting their salaries under their professional.
They'll do a free period of 42 minutes, and then they use their free period to cover a period they get paid by the minute for work they perform.
Wow. No way we can lower the utility bills.
Pardon me?
I said, no way we can lower the utility bills.
Well, I did lower the utility bills, actually. Natural gas, we signed a new contract,
Yeah, I saw that.
so we did okay there. Water is pretty consistent, so I just maintained it for what it was. Electric, I actually reduced it, if I'm not mistaken. And again, I think I did mention in the previous meeting, and I kind of tried to cut this as close to expected as I possibly could.
Yeah.
So like, under what circumstances are these teachers missing their class and the other teachers gonna have to come in covering their free period? You said like IEPs?
I think predominantly it's IEPs, but the principals probably could speak to it better than I could. I would say it's mostly IEPs. What I see in payroll is IEPs. I see a teacher going home 2 periods early, being sick, or leaving for a baseball game or a track meet or something like that. You don't want to substitute in all day. That's predominantly what it is.
Yeah, like, I think so anymore, is it?
I was looking at one of them, not mistaken.
Would it be
That
worthwhile
person
maybe
would be-
not
that
letting these
person
teachers
would
do
be
this then?
To my understanding, we don't have near enough subs on a daily basis. Nobody does. So I mean, for a sub to fill in for the period or two, they're usually busy with a full-time assignment on any given day.
I can give an example. We have a teacher who is out on maternity leave. I have a student who goes on community-based vocational training. I have my autistic support teachers covering the majority of that, but I have one period that we weren't able to cover. Mr. Leap is pulling teachers to cover that one period so that student's IEP can be implemented while that teacher's out on maternity.
What were you doing before that? She was just there.
The teacher was, our community-based vocational teacher was taking that student out, and since she's on maternity leave,
Somebody needs to be there.
we were able to complete the rest of her schedule otherwise with the exception of that period.
What do they do during that period?
That student goes out into the
Oh,
community,
so
and has to
it's-
be supervised.
That student's still doing what?
Right, and so then the teacher who would normally be in the building needs to be covered to supervise the students who are here.
Rich, what makes up object code 580 travel?
580 travel, predominantly that would be your athletic buses. And there would be some travel for like nurses between school buildings, elementary librarian, elementary phys ed, and then teachers that go out on conferences and that type of thing. But predominantly, the travel would be athletic buses.
Okay, so you said the librarian and the phys ed, is that like when they go from Hartman to Perry?
Yes. And that's not really a very large part of it.
No, I
The
wouldn't.
biggest part would be the athletics.
Are custodians and maintenance full-time, like year-round?
Yes.
In the summer?
2,088 hours a year.
So what makes up the $52,000 of summer cleaning and the $165,000?
That's like tough. $3,710. It's 52 days of summer work, 10 staff, 8 hours a day, 4,160 hours, at a rate of $12.19.
What do they do?
Well, I can't answer that specifically. Mr. Schuster could address it, but they paint, they cut grass,
Clean the rooms.
they clean every room in the
Clean
building,
out
they
every
walk
room.
every floor.
I mean, is it $50,000 worth of work? That's my question, I guess. Could we hire a company for $30,000 worth of work?
You will do the same quality work. So,
I don't think so.
you know,
It is contractual, not public.
So you guys are comfortable that if we are down to bare bones, that we would have no choice but to raise taxes?
I don't see any other revenue streams we have at this point. And I've looked at the state revenue, and kind of quote us, we're getting 400,000. I don't know, if we're getting 400,000 or not. I've kind of looked at the subsidy, I've hit the state subsidy pretty close each year with regards to what the formulas push out. I mean, I could be a little bit off on earned income, a little bit off on delinquent tax collections, but, I mean, I don't have a crystal ball to know.
Yeah. No, I was mainly directing it to the administration.
You're off the hot seat for the moment.
No, you're doing a great job, Rich. I mean, you got everything as good, but I mean, we go out to the public with this tax increase. You know, one of the first things I'm gonna be asked is, you know, is there any fat in the budget? Stuff that doesn't have to be done.
Well, I mean, we can go line by line.
I know,
I mean-
but I mean, I don't think that's gonna, that's why I just did what I did. That's the areas where I felt that maybe there was extra money, but Rich explained everything, so I don't believe, the only one that I disagree with is paying somebody to make copies in this day and age. But again, how do you cut her salary? And then you have, with as long as she's been here, you're gonna end up with bumping in that area too, if she goes to a part-time position, right?
But there'd probably be a lot of bumping, and it would probably be her that would go to a part-time position.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that would cause bumping all the way along, and you'd end up with people that aren't fully trained to be in positions that. I'm not bumping as much. I tried.
Any other questions from the board?
Just have a comment, repeat what I said last week, is, we've been through this for several years. We've cut and cut to where I personally have looked through that several times, yeah. I can find a lot of areas to cut. Will it have a very huge negative impact on quality of education? Yes, it would, and I don't feel comfortable doing that. That would be, as far as all the areas we have there, the administration would have way more expertise in knowing what can be, that we've been doing this for so long, we're running out of areas.
Yeah.
We're running out of areas to cut, we're running out of people retiring that we don't have to replace. We still have to, not just run the school, but provide the best education we can.
And that's what it comes
Resources we
down to.
have. unfortunately for us right now, that means running deficits.
The borough just raised our taxes, didn't they?
I think they raise them about, quite often.
What did they just raise?
I don't live in the borough.
Renee?
I don't remember what they raised them. Like a village or whatever, I don't remember the number, but they did just go up.
Mr. Carter, you have a comment? You look like you were ready to say something.
I do. You know, I try to look at things fairly and objective, and I'm gonna tag on to Renee's questions to Joe. Since 2009, we're down 250 students. Since 2009, we're down 14 staff members. In our last budget meeting, we talked about things in the future, things for Frank, things for John. And the only way, you know, I think we're gonna get that is to look at class size. You know, I'm worried. I think Frank has a great program. I think John is gonna step into a great program, but something along the line has to give. And, you know, my opinion right now, and I hate to say it, is class size. Jump up to approximately 26 kids in each class and go to 5 teachers in each class.
At what grade level?
Oh. 26 would be the average.
Yeah, but that doesn't really help us this particular year.
But I think it will help us. Frank needs one this year, Frank, right? John, you're gonna need one next year.
So you're saying not hire either elementary position?
You know what I'm saying? Let's just drop it to 5.
Maybe even
5
more.
kindergarten, 5 first grade, second grade, third, sixth.
So you're saying lay a teacher off?
Yep.
Several.
I agree something radical needs to be done, but that's just,
You're talking, yeah, from, like on the first grade level, 22 kids to 26. Second grade, 22 to 26. Third
It's an
grade,
average of 5.
I'm sorry,
It's an average of around 5.
around 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good idea, especially in the lower levels. There's just too much instruction. These kids have too many problems nowadays.
Yeah,
to
but
make
we
all
have
sides of that big.
RTI, and we have, you know, a lot of people who we can get into the classrooms. So, you know, I'm just so worried about the future. You know, we need pre-engineering, we need that stuff, we need it
Great.
now.
If you don't have a strong base of foundations, then where are you leading to? And Mrs. Gibson, I guess we have to direct this one to you. I mean, that would be very hard for your kindergarten teachers to have that many kids in a class, would they not? And some of these kids come in not knowing anything.
I don't know, they just had a flyer in the Newcastle News with all the kindergarten classes. And if you had an opportunity to look at it, if you don't, I have a copy of it. We already have the largest kindergarten classes. And honestly, when you're talking about PSSA, or pre-engineering, if they can't read, they're not gonna do well on the PSSA, and they're probably not going to become engineers. So I think, early childhood is very important, but it's all very important. I'm not saying that early childhood is more important than any other area, but keep in mind, that's where they learn to read.
Did you send that information out?
I have one copy of it in my office. It was an insert in the Newcastle News. It has all the kindergarten classes. The Holy Redeemer, for instance, that's a very unique example, but they have 3 kids. But some of the other kindergarten classes have 11, 15, a lot of them.
That's all Lawrence County?
Yeah.
What about 4, 5, 6, that level, 5 teachers? Wait, you know, like, teachers will be able to do it?
It's a great impact, to be honest with you. While we can say the average would be 26, I believe next year's 6th grade is 138, so the average is up to 28. And when you include as many kids as we do, special needs children, you attempt to give those homerooms that include those special needs kids and a few less general education students. So while the average might be 28, all classes don't have 28. I may have 5 classrooms, 3 of them may have 30, the other 2 may be down to 26 or 25. And that 25 may include 5 to 7 special needs kids at any given time. There are some times when those kids are pulled out. There is ample time when those kids are included. So to have a class of 25 that includes 7 special needs students, science class, or have 30 gen ed kids, that's a tough road to toe, for sure.
How many of the special needs kids have wraparounds that are with them?
In grades 5 and 6, I have 1 wraparound that is available.
Even my wraparounds do not do any instruction. They are there to monitor behavior. They're not teaching kids at all.
And a lot of wraparounds are very quickly decreasing. The funding for those services are minimal, especially for some of our highest needs students who we continue to recommend them and the insurance company denies them.
And that's something that we have no control over.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
You know, they get that outside, it has to be deemed medically necessary. It has to be deemed medically necessary for them to have hours at school. And we participate in all of those meetings and try and give as much input as we can into those kids that do need it at school. But they are absolutely not allowed to provide academic assistance. It is just behavioral support.
And a lot of times, you'll have a wraparound with 2 hours of service, and they'll come in from 11 to 1. That's lunch, recess, and then another half an hour, 45 minutes of other things maybe. So it's not even keeping a kid on task during academic time. It's during that free time where the kids can get in the most trouble behaviorally because it's unstructured time.
And that's
So
a
it's
good, good point.
not a help in the classroom.
A lot of times they're looking at a need of social skills, and so they recommend those hours where the kids are engaging in that social interaction. So consistently lunch, recess, specials, where they're with typical peers more, or where they're tending to recommend those hours if they are looking at needing some social skills help. We also have a very, very frequent turnover of TSS staff. So while we have some fabulous TSSs that work with some of our students, we also have, some difficulties sometimes and very quick turnover, or positions that take a while to get filled, or we have subs coming in. So, the consistency of that person isn't always there either.
That's a shame.
It is. But they're strapped for money in that system as well, so they're denying a lot of the hours. They're not providing nearly as much support as they had in previous years.
Are these wraparounds, are they under 131?
They're not, no.
They're not.
Oh, they're not.
It's,
Oh.
it's Health and Human Services, right?
It's through Value Health.
It's through their insurance.
Their hours are constantly titrated, so whatever they might start out with 6 hours a day, it might get 4 or 5, and then it continues to
As the student's
decrease.
behavior it gets better.
Sometimes it is not necessary.
It's just, they just do it.
Insurance says, I've had enough.
Mr. Cortez, I can't at this
trying to feel comfortable with class sizes of 26. I understand our financial situation, not much different than most other school districts around here. However, because of some wise decisions made in the past, we do have a fund balance. I understand that. And the idea of going to 5 teachers with our enrollment continuing to decline, 2 or 3 years away from that anyway, simply because we have class total sizes of 120 or less. And that gives us 5 teachers per class, and it's a lot easier to do that through attrition. I would think that an extreme measure like that would be one that would have to be a lot tighter financially.
We're looking long-term too.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Retirement.
saying, long-term, our enrollment is going to go down.
Yeah, but we're not looking at a lot of retirements coming up already.
We have 51 teachers on 17.
Yeah, but how many of them are close to 55 or over?
So we really don't know. We really don't know, but until we get those numbers, class sizes to 120 or less. I mean, at 26 in the high school, that's different, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I wouldn't wanna do anything to the elementary, like I said, that's where they get their start. That's the make it or break it point.
I concur.
So what does that leave us?
Cut people's jobs. I mean, that's, if we really want to make an impact, like you said, get the secretaries to have more coffee room. I mean, if that's what we want to do, that's going to hurt people in the community, you know? So, what are we going to do? Right? So.
You just summed up my feelings perfectly.
That was
man.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah, I went through it and I just, the ones I didn't understand.
Right.
Mr. Zerone, put a spreadsheet together here with 3 different scenarios for increases. Any thoughts towards what the board may be comfortable in proposing for next week's budget? Not everybody at once.
Maybe I'll win the lottery.
Well, if we do the max, we're going to be the most, we'll be the highest around, more than Newcastle. We're already the second highest, right? If we do a 0.5, we're going to be just below Newcastle by like 20, I guess. I mean, I want to be that high. I feel, I like looking at it as a comparative perspective. I just think, I don't like raising taxes, obviously, nobody does, but I still don't think that what we're providing, I don't know, I feel like if we gotta make a tough decision, we gotta make tough decisions. If that means cutting jobs, it's cutting jobs. If that means going to 5 or 6 teachers, it means going to 5 or 6 teachers, but to increase our taxes without taking other drastic measures, I just don't think it's the right thing to do.
I agree with you, Mr. Morrell. How much more are we gonna be able to hit our elderly people in this town, tax-wise? I know I've talked to a lot of them, they're struggling now.
Yeah, we raise taxes, we're looking at the borough raise and our raise, so it's just not a single hit, it's a double hit.
to get it down somehow.
But you have absolutely no idea way to figure out what the estimate in the fund balance is gonna be, right? It's too early.
For this year? Yeah, I think we're gonna do okay this year. I think we're gonna be pretty close. And I wanna look at it more, but I mean, my preliminary stuff, we're gonna be close to break even. That's what I'm projecting.
So no windfall there.
We did have actually this year wasn't the year for the windfall. We got an $80,000 refund from both tech this year. That's probably the biggest thing that occurred. And then the property taxes have come in higher as an actual number, almost, I think, $189,000 higher. So not that that's a windfall, but it's helped. I'm really hoping for a surplus in the last 2 months of the year so we can transfer that money to the capital reserve fund so that that $350,000 doesn't have to come out of the general fund, which would be a real positive thing.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Now, what we can do is go back tomorrow and say, we're done buying for this year, no more. Cut it off completely. We've done that in the past.
I don't remember that.
Approximately, what would that save us?
I can't really tell you. I mean, it's usually, most of what I've projected out, projected that we're gonna spend all of our supply accounts. So they could be between 50 and 75, 100,000 that may or may not get spent from this point forward. Most of that will be with Steve Schuster in his area. So as we start school being out on June 2nd, he starts to do things, and we start spending money that last couple of weeks of the fiscal year.
That's money that needs to be
Well,
spent.
we can't handicap him. He's gotta have what he's gotta have to do what needs done.
Right.
You can't paint without paint and brushes.
Yeah, we go into an executive session, discuss the positions, like personal information. I don't wanna I wanna talk about secretaries and teachers and stuff like that, but I wanna deal with city names and stuff and talk about.
Are we allowed to do that?
You wanna talk specific?
Right.
Yeah, I think,
I don't know if you can have an executive session in a budget meeting. I don't know.
I think if it relates to personnel, yeah, I don't know, I'd be hard pressed. I don't wanna make that call myself. We can have that discussion Monday evening, once the solicitor's here to kind of give us a little bit of guidance.
Yeah, but that means you have no guidance for the budget.
Well, I would have 2 or 3 days to put something together for Thursday.
God, Rich.
You have a consensus for tax increase.
You do a straw poll?
Yeah, we can pull the board. I mean, the reality is, I mean, I hate to say this, but, you know, the borough raises their taxes, everybody else raises theirs, and then we're sitting here saying, well, everyone else is getting more, so we can't. You know, unfortunately, I mean, we have a business to run here too, and, you know, as much as we don't wanna pile on to our taxpayers, we also can't sit by and do nothing when everyone else is getting, you know, the increases that they think that they need to have. And we've seen some of the increases that come out from some other entities locally, and you have to wonder how much they're really tightening up the belt, you know, whenever we are cutting as much as we can cut. And then, you know, we're looking at you know, not increasing because another entity did. I just don't know that that's the measuring stick that we have to use.
I don't wanna go into an executive session.
First on the law, if we're in agreement, can we do it?
I'm not sure. We call John.
Can we call John and ask him?
it is a public
It
meeting.
is a public
It was
meeting.
advertised, it just
Right.
isn't a voting
It's
meeting,
not a
so
voting.
I think that we can do it, but.
I don't know, that's my.
Well, we have an executive session afterwards. And John said that was okay.
Oh, well then, there's our answer.
Yeah, we're already, we can have an executive session. We can always have an executive session, just we don't know what you talk about.
Um, Are we done with the rest? Except for we're cutting it into executive.
He's, he's calling John.
The voice note.
He's campaigning.
Probably is.
Well,
It's coming.
what, are we just turning the
Personnel.
camera off, or are we asking the, folks to leave?
Yeah, it's just the board here.
All right, then we will,